to make him nice and loose for these first few strokes, where you're just thinking about what the next stroke brings. And this is a really good local rivalry we've got here between Shiplake and Leander, separated by, you know, just a few kilometres of water really on their home stretches.
Yeah, just a few kilometres of water between these two, and they know this stretch of water so well. Leander trained on here, but Shiplake will be able to come up and use this water whenever they want to practice. So I'm sure they'll be familiar with it as we're looking here at this Shiplake crew. These boys are actually from the school's second 8, so I guess the strongest 1 to 8 will be in that 8. This is effectively their B crew, and it's the Leander B crew that we're seeing, and no surprises, they're still side by side.
Some lovely clean finishes here from the Leander crew on the near side, and you can really hear them all exiting the water together, as you can hear from our effects mic there, picking that up as they exit the water nice and cleanly. But level pegging here as we come through the opening stages, and we'll follow this race the whole way through because we've caught it from the start. Centimetre by centimetre, it looks to me that it's Leander Club here on the near side that start to take the lead, Greg.
It looks like it is Leander Club just edging, but I think that's Dave Curry on a bicycle that you can see, literally cycling right alongside his crew. He's able to coach them, he's able to talk to them, he's able to keep them hanging in the race, and they're absolutely responding. They're sculling really nicely. I actually quite like the rhythm in that Shiplake crew on the far side, that they get connected, and there's a little bit of time where they're just hanging off the blades and actually just keeping the boat moving underneath them. It looks quite relaxed, even though they're slightly behind, and if anything, now coming level.
Yeah, it's a sort of silent response there from Shiplake, right? Like, they'll have been able to, out of the corner of their eye, see Leander starting to push away, and they've crept back here, and great shots here of the Shiplake crew. And just a small word there from the 3 seat, that's Nick Summerfield in the 3 seat. You can see his mouth moving, he's obviously saying something, as Jack Duggan has a quick look to his left to see and assess what impact that little push has made.
Well, they still look wonderfully calm and composed, don't they? There's that real relaxation that you can see. They're focused on what they're doing. Everything they're doing is applied to the water. There's no wasted energy gripping the handles, tensing faces up. But they're against a really strong crew. This crew from Leander Club are great contenders as well. Again, look at the relaxation there. It's rider Apatu in the stroke seat. I love the way when he was sat on the start, by the way, that he was able to just let go of his scull, dip his hand in the water, leave the scull just sitting the way it wants to sit, balanced and in the water. If you put the blade in the water and you don't get too tense, it sits where it needs to. He was confident enough to let go of the handle, and that looks like what they're doing here. Dropping the handles in, letting them sit almost, and then apply the force to them and move the boat past. And we're getting a wonderful race. We're going to have a race the whole way. This is a great one for us to be lucky enough to watch.
Oh, this is a real display of some great sculling on show. Like you said, really loose in the Leander quad. Some great steering from both crews, which sounds like they had you in their ear, Greg, almost, right? Taking that advice about how to row a great quad. And I think Leander have just pushed back somewhat again. This is an extraordinary race we've got here coming through the Fawley box, and you can see on the left-hand side, those are the signallers that will allow us to see the distance between the crews. They're all manually operated, and they judge the distance between the crews. And if I was in that signal box now, Greg, I think I'd say they were level.
Yeah, we'd be saying they're pretty close. We'll get the picture here, and you can see it from here. The crews more or less bow ball to bow ball, as we see just those sly little looks across, mostly from the bow seat. It's Jack Duggan for Shiplake. It's Will Eaton for Leander, who will be taking a look across. Both those two also have the rudders. They're both steering, and as you have said, Camilla, they've steered brilliant lines. You talked about it earlier. They can see that stream of dead straight water going out behind the boats. We can see it absolutely parallel to these booms, holding their distance off these wooden booms, so that they're just going the shortest possible distance. And now we get to see, it looks like about half a length for Leander.
Oh, what a great little response there from Leander B. They saw the danger in the early stages, and we've lost Dave Curry on his bicycle on the towpath. He won't be able to cycle the whole way down, but his crew just letting them slip away. And at this point, Greg, they've still got overlap, which I think is really important in this point of the course, especially if you've got any chance of rowing back through.
Yeah, absolutely. Contact is so important here. We still don't know how hard they've had to work. You can just see kind of now a little bit more of a grimace on the faces of that Leander crew. They're still having, you don't know how hard they're working. We can't tell how hard they're working because they've got that relaxation, they've got that good technique, but it's going to be burning, it's going to be hurting, as we're seeing again in that Shiplake crew. It's Nick Summerfield urging the crew on, looking to dig it a bit deeper, but you know how much it's hurting them.
It looks like they've got two sort of separate callers here within the Shiplake crew. It's Jack Duggan in the bow seat kind of saying, where are we, you know, versus the crew, and it's Nick Summerfield in the 3 seat calling the pushes, calling the strategic moves, and it's keeping them in contact with Leander. Do you think they've moved back somewhat there, Greg, or they're just holding?
At this point, I think they're holding. It looks like about half a length, maybe it's 3/4 of a length. I've taken both crews at 35 strokes a minute, so they're pretty much stroke for stroke. It's about how clean they can stay. It's about how efficient they can stay and what they've really got left. They're going to come in front of the enclosures. Their local crews, we're here in Henley. It's Leander Club against Shiplake. They should get a good roar. They should get some good support.
Oh, it would be great to hear the noise building here. 7:05 on the Tuesday evening of Henley Royal Regatta. Shiplake versus Leander, the local rivals going toe-to-toe the whole way down this course. Barely much to separate them, and Shiplake are going to have to go if they've got one more chance here of making a move.
And Nick Duggan in the bow seat has got that boat incredibly close to the booms. I think they might even have just clipped on the booms there. Certainly something happened on the right side of the boat, whereas a little bit of a correction, I think it might cost them as we're coming here. They're looking to sprint. What's going to happen here? Very, very close. This camera, I think, is on the progress board. I always think the progress board is about the last 5, 8 strokes maybe. What's going to happen here?
Massive push here from Shiplake College, but it's not going to be enough on this day, at this time at Henley Royal Regatta. I don't think Leander Club B have got the advantage to look back on their rivals from Shiplake. They passed that progress board, they passed that 5 to 8 strokes that you said, Greg Searle, and maybe I've called it too early, but I do think it will be Leander Club B in this Fawley Challenge Cup event that will lead out by 3/4 of a length almost at the end there, but overlap the entirety of that course. That was quite a treat to commentate on that heat of the Fawley Challenge Cup, Greg.
Yeah, and it's easy to forget that these rowers are 16 to 18 years old, and they're so efficient, so sculling so well. See confirmation of that win for Leander B over Shiplake College.
Yeah.